Hi guys, it's Cindy again, and I wanted to show you. I did a tutorial. I watched a video on um, Mary with Crazy Card '09. I had not seen any of hers before, but I was looking at mini albums, and she had an envelope mini album that her daughter showed on the video, and I believe it's called Envelope Mini Album on her YouTube channel. So go and check her out. She doesn't do a lot of albums. Mostly she does cards, and she uses her Cricut. She uses it a lot. So if you're really interested in a Cricut, I think you are going to enjoy her website. I don't have a Cricut. I do the albums and haven't thought about needing one, but I've been really interested in doing cards. So I'm thinking about getting a Cricut, but it seems like a lot of work to me, so I'm not sure. But I wanted to show you a couple of the albums that I made using her suggestion. I did do a little bit of modification on my album because I found a few things that I needed to change due to needing that I'm selling it to clients and not just giving it away. So this is the first book. This is made from the Mariposa paper line, which is absolutely fantastic. I probably use sparingly a few pages at a time to enhance things. I just tied a little green ribbon around it like a belly band. You just take that off, and then here's the front cover. Now the cover and all the pages inside are all envelopes. These are the cream colored envelopes that I used on this, and I cut the paper almost just a little fraction showing right here, so an 1/8 of an inch smaller so that the cardstock covers the whole paper. And then when you open this album up, you have a spot for your pictures, both sides, and a spot for journaling. I just used regular cardstock for that because a lot of the albums I did, like the wedding album, they're expensive custom-made albums, but these albums I can make more affordable, and they're perfect memory books. I talked about that before, that what I create is not just a photo album. These are memory books where you can choose something. Someone can pick one of these up and they can put a picture of their child, the favorite picture, journal about it, anything like that. This is to create memories so that you don't forget what happened, and so that in the future your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren can look through them and see what happened that day. Not just a picture and look and think, I wonder what they were doing. You can actually write about it and tell them exactly what happened that day. So one of the things with this, when you look at the tutorial, one of the things that happens is right here on this, when it's pulled, I noticed that it would tear. So I put some reinforcements, if you can see right there. That's a circle that I've glued, folded in half, glued. Comes like it's on the other side also. So I fold that in half, and that stops any tearing from going on. So then here's the next page. Journaling card, beautiful paper. One thing about these books I find is you really want to choose the paper so that it speaks, because the books are very thin. Do you see how nice? Let that focus. Sorry about the camera. It's a new camera. We're trying it out, and it seems like it wants to refocus every time I move. But do you see how nice and thin the book is? I love embellishments just like everybody else. I actually go a little crazy sometimes, maybe not with the flowers and paper flowers, but I'm always trying to put something else, something more on my book. I have the hardest time saying, okay, now they're done, because I'm always going back through them and finding another place. But these can be completely without embellishments if you use the paper to its advantage. Or you can use some die cuts, something like that, something flat to add to it. Although I will tell you, because of the way that we have made it, and you can go and look at my tutorial, you can go and look at Crazy Mary at Crazy Card 09, but this will expand. So it gives you some room on that. So here we are, we're on page 2. This is page 3. Here's page 4, the beautiful butterflies. And here's the next page. See, you see how beautiful this Mariposa is? The problem with the Mariposa paper when I first found it was really, the way it seemed to be laid out, seemed to really cater to 12 by 12s. And then I figured out how to cut it. But when I cut it, there's a center piece in the paper that is wasted. And so I started trying to figure out how I could use the paper and not waste anything. And again, this beautiful blue paper with the butterfly. And then, now when I will tell you, in my tutorial I tell you, you're cutting this. This is to help use up maybe some of those last pages in a favorite book. You know how you always end up with just a few pages, but they're still really beautiful pages. But maybe you're not going to start it. You can't start a whole other album. I believe that I think I make these with 4 sheets of paper, and then use the paper to its best advantage, cutting it. And so you're going to end up sometimes, see how I got that little butterfly, got a little trim on the butterfly. He's somewhere else around here. The rest of him, here he is. Here's the rest of him on the back cover. Don't be afraid of that. Cut it. If you can't, just don't be afraid to try to center this, because if I try to center that butterfly, you see how this paper was here? That's the one part of it. That's the second part. And then this is the third part. If I had tried to center that, I would have lost 2 other cuts of paper that would have been sitting in my scrap pile and probably never have gotten used. Don't be afraid to cut the paper. It's fine. No one's going to say, well, I hate that page because there's just a little piece of butterfly there. No one's going to say that. And then the last page, it ends up with 2 journaling spots. And it just makes a really, really beautiful, fun memory book. And someone can get these and put them in a basket, put them on their table. They're very easy. They don't have the large binding, because a lot of my books, for some reason, when I do my memory books, the binding is always ending up 3.5, 4 inches. I just get crazy with the embellishments. I want someone to really get their money's worth for them, and so I make them very thick. Now I've got 2 more that I made using the same design. This one just looks like wood, and this one says Journey. This is My Mind's Eye. This was just some papers that I found in the paper stacks at Hobby Lobby, and I liked them. I put them together because they reminded me with the gingham and the what are those called? You know what those are called. I always want to say amoebas. They're paisleys, right? Paisleys. So anyway, I like that paper because it reminded me of kind of that country kitchen, older Western kind of material that you would see with jeans and the shirts like this. And I of course, red is, other than pink, red is one of my favorite colors. So I got this to make it wood, and the paper feels very nice. It has almost a coating on it. It's not an inexpensive paper that's real cheap. So I got a nice paper, cut it out so that it looks like wood on the cover. And then again, you have your journaling. Now these I rounded off, and I think I'm going to go back on the Mariposa and round the corners. I like rounded corners. I think they look finished. So I'm probably going to go back on the Mariposa and round those corners. You put that in there. So you have the jean material on every page along with them. And also, in these books, don't be afraid to duplicate the pages of the paper that you're using, because again, we're using up our paper. We're making something quick, fun, beautiful. I had these books made up. I had a fourth one. I went to my nephew's birthday party, and one of her friends was there, had just had a baby, and the book said Princess on it. I thought, oh, that's perfect. I gave her the book. She loved it. She loves homemade things, and so it was really nice just to have something that I could give her, and it not feel like too much. She's not getting something too much that she would feel maybe an obligation to reciprocate, and I'm able to give it away to someone I've just met because I made several of them in one day of scrapbooking. So again, paper, we have the paisley, the tag in each page. There's 8 pages. There's 14 if you don't include the front and back. There's 14 places for pictures. You can put the 4x6s on here. There's 8 journaling tags. You can journal front and back or put pictures. You can also tuck extra pictures in here if you want. It just goes and goes. It's all exactly the same. It feels great in your hand. And then I ran out of the jean material, so I ended up with a paisley and a check in the back. Wood on the bottom again. Again, do you see how nice and thin this lays? Again, I put the protectors. This time I got smart and I put them on before I made the book, before I covered the papers rather, and so they sit there, and you see how nicely that book expands. And you can, like I said, you can look at my tutorial and see how that's made. And then last but not least is the one from the My Mind's Eye with Journey. I love this paper. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, all the other books were made with cardstock. This is actually paper. So I used my craft envelopes. These are the Recollection because they're really sturdy envelopes. And I was able to use just regular paper on them. The same thing with this. This is a craft envelope, so I was able to use the paper. With the cream colored envelopes, they're a little thinner, so I use cardstock. But we have Journey, same concept. The rounded tag, front and back for journaling. I used to put lines on here, and one of the books I gave, later on I came and looked at what she had done, and she just wrote real tiny and drew pictures and things, and so I decided I'm not going to tell somebody how to journal in their book. They can write, anybody can write on a blank piece of paper, and if I made it with big lines, then they might feel like, and they have less journaling, and so I stopped doing the lines unless it's part of the paper, or unless they ask for it. Beautiful circles, the 29, 12, I love that. Cardigan in here. This is Southern Journey. This is Southern Traveler, which it's a little bit like maybe a vacation book, but it's really not. It's just like a life book, because here's a page with love. I love that color paper. Again, here's another in the red. This has a faded newsprint with the 12 in the back. Another red. See, these are the same. These are the same. Not that paper, but this paper and this paper are the same. This paper and this paper are the same. But the way I cut them, they look completely different. Again, here. This has the double tags. 1, 2 tags. And then the back cover. And it's a beautiful book. These, all 3, right now are on sale at my Etsy site, Cindy Lane, at Etsy. And so you can, if you would like one, you're more than welcome to go there, see if they're still available, and purchase one. They're fun. They're perfect memory keepers. You can put them in a basket, have different memories that would go very easy on a shelf as a nice little memory books. So look at my tutorial. Maybe you'd like to make one. If you'd like to buy one, go to my Etsy shop. I'll be happy to sell you one of these or make you one for yourself. So guys, enjoy it. Enjoy the paper. and have a great time. Happy scrapbooking!